On our last episode of the Haymakers, we talked about what is arguably one of the most important things that a wrestler needs to worry about, and that, of course, is their debut into the WWE. But sometimes a wrestler needs to take a break, whether it's due to an injury, or they want to be in a movie, or they just want to take some time off and decide, hey, I want to get back into wrestling. That, of course, is the art of the return. Arguably, the return is just as important or more important than the debut because it allows you to reinvent your character, to make something new of yourself, change your look, change your personality, and everything like that within the eyes of WWE fans. Greetings, everybody. My name is DJ Calcos, and the people that are working with me are...
ToonKriticY2K, your cult of personality.
And Nicky VMLP, the guy who... The same three guys who were in the last one. You know the last one. You saw it. If not, go back, watch the last one. It is really good. But so is this one, so don't unclick that one. Probably.
Basically, yeah. Just a fun fact for everybody listening. We've been trapped in this room for about 3 days now, and we've just decided out of boredom to start recording these casts because we have nothing better to do. So if we sound a little out of it, yeah, we've been trapped in a room for like 3 days.
Please
Send
send
for help,
pizza.
please.
We've been eating nothing but rats.
They're actually not too bad once you put a little bit of sauce on them.
Where did you get the sauce? We're locked in a room for 3 days, man.
Dude, when you're locked in a room for 3 days, you get inventive.
Okay, let's not even... Let's
not.
Okay,
Let's
yeah.
never discuss this again.
Yeah, we're the Haymakers. Today we're discussing the best returns, and I believe, first off, Calcos, that was a really good intro.
Thank you.
And since you did such a beautiful Emmy-winning speech right there, I'm going to let you take us off with our first return.
I will not accept this Emmy until they tear down the wall that divides Germany.
I just want to let you know, they already did that.
Fuck.
Would you like to accept your Emmy now?
Sure, why the hell not? First up, in 2003, I believe, one of the biggest superstars of the Attitude Era decided that he wanted to pursue other things. He wanted to go Hollywood. He wanted to leave the WWE behind for greener pastures, and went from his stage name to his real name in the process. Well, in 2011, they announced his return. Nobody expected it, and it remains one of the biggest returns the industry has ever seen. I, of course, am talking about the return of The Rock to host WrestleMania 27.
Man, when they made the announcement that there was going to be, like, you know, a surprise guest host for WrestleMania, I thought it was going to be somebody like Stone Cold or Hulk Hogan or something, but they built it up so well. Like, it's just like, your host is... There was silence, and then there was the lightning bolts, and then the lights were going out one by one by one, and they were building it up, and all of a sudden you hear The Rock's music, and everybody just flips their shit.
I don't want to bring this down, but it was kind of an admittal that his Hollywood career really did not go as well as he would have hoped. I mean, like, it started out all right, but then you get to stuff like the Game Plan and the Tooth Fairy
And the Scorpion King. That didn't work out too well.
Scorpion King.
But we're not here to discuss The Rock's failure of a movie career.
Okay, I have to
There you
mention
go.
Doom, but after that, I'm done.
Yeah. I was about to say, Scorpion King was all right, but the CG was just got off. But yeah, the way he came back was just... It was awesome for anyone who was, like, big into the Attitude Era. But this is going to be a very controversial statement, but I've never been too much of a fan of The Rock. Like, he just doesn't seem like... His character is kind of generic, would be the right word. Like, he doesn't... What's his main gimmick? What's his big trait?
Being incredible on the mic, I think.
Burn the heretic. Burn.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't really a huge fan of The Rock either, but I understand why he is, like, so popular, because everybody rallied behind him sort of in the same way that they did for Hogan, and they brought The Rock back, I believe, for one huge reason, and that was to help sell WrestleMania, and it worked.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, WrestleMania 27 is one of the most successful financially WrestleManias ever. It sold tickets, it sold pay-per-views, and I believe it's one of the highest attended WrestleManias as well. I think the second highest was actually WrestleMania 30. I can't quote this, of course. The only thing I know is that the most attended WrestleMania was WrestleMania 3, and that's because Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan.
Didn't that WrestleMania take place in like 3 different locations as well?
No, that was 2, I think.
That was 2. My mistake. Yeah.
Anyway, another reason why The Rock decided to come back. 2 words: John and Cena.
The Rock came back for one reason and then one reason only, and that was to beat the shit out of Cena, not just in the ring, but on the mic, which he succeeded, no question.
For those of you that don't know, their rivalry is not just kayfabe. They do not like each other at all.
It's one of those rivalries like who is it?
Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels.
I was trying to think of that. Bret Mike. Did I just say Bret Michaels?
Bret Michaels. Now, let's not go into the fanfic territory again.
Why? We always go back there.
Because it's an easy target.
Regardless,
we will have an episode on fan fictions one day, so help it.
Really?
So help me and so help everybody in the comments if you want to see it happen.
Hey, write fanfics for us. We'll read them at some point. Trust us. In the words of Jake,
to write fanfics.
In the words of Jake the Snake Roberts, trust me.
The Rock's return still stands, I think, from a financial standpoint, from a business standpoint, and from an entertainment standpoint, because I don't think WrestleMania 27 would have gone over as well had The Rock not come back. I think if we can agree on one thing, it's that it helped get, I think, the ball rolling again coming to, I think, WrestleMania, not just for 27, but also for 28 and for 29 onwards.
Yeah, it's one of the few times when it actually was good for business.
Yeah, it wasn't just a catchphrase. It was legit, so.
Yeah. So good job bringing back The Rock, even though his movies kind of suck. But he came back, and he was a big presence for the last 3 or 4 WrestleManias, and he still got it in the ring. Like, he's still competing at a main event level, I would say.
Yeah. I just really don't like the fact that Rock came back and stole CM Punk's title, you son of a bitch.
Okay,
I still
Nick.
haven't forgiven you for that, Rock.
Nobody will ever forgive him for that.
Nobody. All right, Nick, you're up.
All right, well, you have led me into this one pretty much perfectly, because I would like to talk to you about a certain Punk. At Money in the Bank 2011, which I believe is the one that Zach attended.
Yes.
In Chicago, Illinois.
Yes.
He was the challenger, and Cena was the champion at the time, and if Punk won the championship, he was going to take the WWE title and walk right out that front door. And there wasn't a damn thing that Vince or John or anybody could do to stop him. And I was certain that watching that match, that Cena was going to win and Punk was just going to quietly walk away, because there hasn't been anybody that's left the company with a title in hand for quite some time. Like, whenever a guy is about to leave the company with a title, they usually strip him of the title in some way. But his contract ran out and he bolted. And then I believe it was a month later or so.
Yeah.
Okay, about a month later, they were finally getting around to claim. They finally got to crown a new champion. It was John Cena once again, and he won the match against Rey Mysterio to win the title. And he's exhausted from the match, and he's slumping over. And then all of a sudden, In Living Color's Cult of Personality started to play. And admittedly, it's a pretty good song, but nobody really knew why. That's not really anybody's theme. Especially, like, you could actually see John in the ring kind of sell it, because you see him say, "That's not Alberto." Eventually, CM Punk starts walking out. His name flashes on the bottom part of the Titantron. Crowd just goes ballistic. It was one of the biggest pops I have ever seen in all my years. And he just takes it all in and just comes back into the ring. Cena holds up his WWE title. Punk holds his up higher and gets, like, just huge pop from that, and just
You gotta kind of all take it in. It was, I would have chosen this, but I decided to choose something for later on, which you will see. Punk's return, a lot of people saw coming, but they were not expecting him to come back with like this new, fresh sort of twist on his character.
yeah, because he had been playing the same kind of generic-y rock song ever since like his debut in ECW. For like the better part of 5 years, he had the same theme song, and like he comes back, and he's got the cool song. He's got a new kind of twist to his character, and one of my favorite CM Punk moments was, I believe, the Raw right after that, where he came out and explained why he came back.
Yeah.
And one of the lines was, "I love the company, I just hate the people in charge."
What's funny also is that they really did not pick up on this angle much later on, which I
Yeah.
think was one of WWE's biggest mistakes, because they had the character rolling for quite some time, and then it kind of just fell on the floor.
Yeah.
Calcos, what do you think?
The best part about that return was allowing him to go and cut that promo with Triple H a couple months later in October, because if you guys haven't seen that promo, it was like 15 minutes long and worth every second, especially when Triple H asks him what he wants, and some dude in the crowd just goes, "Ice cream bars!" in reference to Punk's demand to Vince McMahon that they bring back the WWE ice cream bars. And Punk goes, "Okay, Hunter, you've constantly kept asking me, what do I want? What do I want? And I've told you what I want. So my question to you is, where, oh, where are my ice cream bars?"
Oh, that is
And-
going to be the biggest tragedy of the CM Punk era. We never got WWE ice cream bars.
I also love the comment he made later on. He's just like, you don't wear the pants in this relationship, but you do wear her panties, don't you? I could not stop laughing after that, because I'm like, okay, Punk.
And
High five.
he even called Hunter by his real name.
Yeah, this isn't CM Punk talking to Triple H. This is Phil Brooks talking to Paul Levesque. And the crowd just goes, "What?"
It's Paul Levesque. The S is silent. It's a French name.
Oh.
Really?
Yes, the S is silent. The only reason I know that is because of how Punk pronounced it.
Yeah, I was about
Otherwise,
to say, Punk pronounced it Levesque.
otherwise I would have pronounced it Levesque. As a matter of fact, I believe I already did at some point.
Yeah.
I kind of feel
But
bad
anyway.
that I didn't get that right. I live in a French-speaking area.
Sorry.
All right, but yeah, and like nobody ever mentions real names in the company. I think the only other person who ever did that was Ken Shamrock, like way back in the day, and that was one of those holy shit moments.
Oh yeah.
But what I think also makes this return just as important is that a few months later, it would kickstart Punk's 434-day title reign.
The longest WWE title reign in the modern era of the WWE.
Longer than
Do we
Cena.
even need to say anything? Do we even need to talk about it? I don't think we need to talk about it.
Yeah, well, one of the things that he mentioned about having the longest title reign ever was that the person who currently holds the longest one ever, Bruno Sammartino, who held it for like 7,000 days, Punk said that his 400 and something day title reign was more impressive because Bruno Sammartino wrestled like once every month or two, and Punk wrestles like 8 to 9 times a month. You can make the case that Punk's 400 and something day title run was actually one of the more impressive ones ever.
I don't know if I should agree or not, but I kind of do agree.
It was a great return, and I will be willing to bet you that if CM Punk is ever able to make amends with the WWE and he comes back, the pop that he would get would be even bigger than this one. It would be one of the pops that we talk about for the rest of our wrestling viewing days.
Let's flash to the Royal Rumble 2015. Number 30 is, and the pop would just kill everything. The decibel level would go so high.
Eyes, what do you see? The cult of personality. like Joseph Stalin and Gandhi. Oh, I'm the cult of personality.
Have I ever told you that you're a damn good singer, Calcos?
No, you haven't, but thank you.
All right, my turn. Okay, let me take you guys back to around, I think, SummerSlam 2005. John Cena defending the WWE Championship against Chris Jericho in a match where if Chris Jericho lost, he would be fired. But let's just cut to the chase. Cena won because Super Cena.
Cena Winslow.
Also, Jericho was getting tired and wanted to retire, so.
Yeah. So Jericho loses, and we never see him again. Until around 2007, when we start seeing these very bizarre code-like promos, the whole "can you break the code?" It was one of the more interesting return promos that we had gotten, because it kept interrupting things over and over and over again, and we didn't know what this was. We didn't know, like, if it was going to be somebody that had recently got injured, or if it was somebody from another company, was somebody farther back coming back. We didn't know. And right around the end of 2007, finally we got to Randy Orton having a ceremony, a passing of the torch ceremony, and the guy's coming in, he's running with the torch, but he gets knocked down, and there's some figure doing a very familiar pose right above the torch man. The lights go out. The "can you break the code" promo comes up. It turns to "save us Y2J." Everybody goes fucking nuts, and Chris Jericho comes back to one of the biggest pops that I've heard, at least during that time. There's Jericho just cutting this kick-ass promo against Orton, saying that he's back, saying that he's coming back for the WWE Championship. What else needs to be said? It was a fucking awesome return.
Yeah, I remember this promo. Like, this was right during the time when Orton had the biggest heat he's ever had against him. Like, this was in his Legend Killer phase.
No, I think this was it Legacy, or was it?
I think it was right. It was when he was punting people in the head.
Ah, right.
Yeah, he punted, let's see here. He punted Vince. He punted, I want to say Ric Flair. He punted RVD. I remember that. That was very sad for me.
It broke poor Nikki's heart.
Oh, there's no idea. It's like, no! But, so when Jericho came back, I was like, uh-oh, he's in the line of fire. And like, I hadn't watched that much Jericho from back in the day. Like, that was just before I got into it. So I was like, oh, okay, this guy's back. Is he gonna be the one who actually beats him, or is he just a guy who's coming back to like get thrown into Orton? But he came back and he freaking kicked ass against Orton, and he didn't end up getting thrown to Orton. So yeah, that's good.
But he didn't win the championship, though.
He didn't win the title, but he also didn't get punted. So
this is true. I think it would have been interesting if Jericho had actually won the championship right when he came back.
Yeah. Well, when was the last time somebody came back from a long hiatus and just got the title, though?
Cena.
Well, I mean, like, not an injury hiatus. I mean, like, was actually gone. Wait, The Rock. Never mind.
Yeah, The Rock.
God damn, that's never gonna go away, is it?
Nah. What do you think, Calcos?
I think that you guys have not mentioned probably the greatest thing about his return. I can't believe you guys actually haven't noticed this. His long hair was gone. It's now short and gelled up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No more with the long, luxurious locks. Now he had, like, spiky anime-like hair.
And it was great. I loved his style change. His face also looked a lot smoother. It's funny because Chris Jericho, much like Shawn Michaels, returned after a very long hiatus and was better than ever. Like, yeah. He was a better wrestler. He was a better speaker. He looked better, and just everything about him was better.
I think the cool thing about his return is that while he danced around in the main event and then went to the mid-card, kicked some ass, got the Intercontinental Championship, the one thing I think his return benefited from the most was his rivalry with Shawn Michaels and turning heel.
Yes, that was a good... Like, when he got Orton got, or not Orton, when Jericho threw him through the TV on the highlight reel. That was just
Yeah.
one of those, like, whoa. I didn't see that heel turn coming, I'll be honest.
Point is, Jericho's return was awesome. And I really don't like the fact that he kind of copied it for his 2012 return to go up against CM Punk. I think this one was a lot better. That's personally just me because they made a lot more sense. Anyway, that's all I got. So, take it away, Calcos.
Okay, next up on the list. Okay, this is a guy that, much like The Rock, we thought we'd never see his face again, except scaled up to about 10 million, because this guy was the subject of one of the most controversial events ever in the WWE, which happened in 1997 and was one of the things that really spurred on the Attitude Era. But he was able to make amends with the company. He was able to make amends with his hated rival. And in 2010, the victim of the Montreal Screwjob came back in perfect fashion. Bret the Hitman Hart. Can anyone say that, I mean, this is an example that, I mean, in 2006, when he was in the Hall of Fame, have you guys ever seen his speech for the Hall of Fame?
I don't remember.
I did. I believe, actually, if I'm wrong about this, I think Bret Hart was inducted in around WrestleMania 22's time.
Yeah, it was 2006. He was inducted way earlier than this return and was one of the first inductees within the new Hall of Fame.
Okay, good. That's the one I remember.
Yeah, if you remember his speech, it was so cringeworthy because he spent the entire time telling everybody how shit the WWE was and how shit McMahon was. And it was at that point that McMahon said, okay, we got to get over this at some point. So he kept calling Bret over and over and over again and said, look, I'm sorry. Do you want to come back and do something with us? And Bret Hart kept saying, no, no, no. And eventually, McMahon stopped calling. And about a year later, Hart said, you know what? I'm sorry too. Let's do this thing. And in January of 2010, he returned in Montreal to I believe it was Montreal. It would make sense if it was Montreal, to a very large pop. He brought Shawn Michaels out, who was a part of DX, and they did a complete shoot promo where they made up and they talked about everything. And then he invited McMahon up. They made up, and it started an angle where McMahon, in kayfabe, still was mad at Bret Hart. And it started a whole WrestleMania thing, which was, it kind of sucked, but it's mostly because we knew better. We knew that they had made up. Otherwise, Bret Hart wouldn't have been on WWE soil in the first place. However, his whole SummerSlam 2010 thing with Team WWE was pretty goddamn awesome, so I'll give him that.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights of his return. But, like, there's an old saying in wrestling. Everybody eventually comes back. But if there was one person who we were pretty much positive was never going to come back, it would probably have been Bret. Because that breakup was ugly. Like, it was something that it looked like his relationship with the WWE was irreparable.
If you watch like some of the documentaries and stuff with Bret, and if you watch like I think a bit of the Monday Night Wars, you could see that Bret was pretty pissed over what had happened. He had burned all his bridges. He went to WCW and he just trashed WWE.
Les gasp. How could he?
Yeah, I know. How could you, Bret? Now, I agree with you, Nikki. It probably never would have happened, but a miracle happened to make this return possible, and I thought it was great. I thought. I was glad that he didn't wrestle much because of the whole the post-concussion syndrome thing.
I thought it was like a stroke.
Yeah, it was like that. I thought like, okay, please don't get back into the ring. I was really worried about that.
Yeah.
But, he came back, he did his stuff, and I think he had fun with it. He had fun putting some guys over, so.
How old was Bret when he came back? He had to have been like in his 50s or so?
I think so.
When the guy birthday and do some math. I'll do it right now. Hold on.
Okay. I'll talk during that time. But yeah, when a guy comes back at that age, you don't expect him to be like still capable of competing at a high level. And Bret came back and he was still pretty good.
He was 52 when he came back.
52. Okay. Wow. I would have thought older, but yeah.
Yeah, currently he's 57.
Well, I wouldn't have figured that he'd be able to come back as well as he did, and he kind of surprised me on that. So, good job, Hitman.
Hey,
Yes.
he could still perform a sharpshooter as good as he always could. And to
Yeah.
me, even though he can't really wrestle anymore, to me and to I think most people, that's really all that matters.
Yeah,
'Cause,
can you do the sharpshooter? Good.
Yep,
Let's get you
and
back.
he'll be able to do it forever, unlike Sting, who can barely do the Scorpion Deathlock now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be the one thing that makes Sting's eventual appearance in the WWE kind of unfortunate, because like he either won't be able to do it or he'll only break it out very, very rarely.
Yeah.
Next up on the list.
All right, I'm up again. Okay, so back in 2001, I want to say it was the Raw after Judgment Day 01. Triple H was in a match and he tore his quadricep, which
In a very
is
painful way.
Oh yeah, and that's one of those injuries that's supposed to keep you out for like a year. That's one of those bad injuries. It's like, since the quadricep is such a huge muscle, nobody expected him to be back anytime soon. Maybe if he's lucky, he'll make it back for WrestleMania. He comes back 8 months later, right before the Royal Rumble. And by the way, I did mention that I'm talking about Triple H, right?
Yeah.
It's Triple H. Okay, so Triple H comes back right before the Royal Rumble to... I've said this line before, but this time, this was the loudest pop I've ever heard. In some cases, like whenever Punk came back, there was that contingent of the audience that was like, "Oh, we don't like you. You feuded with Cena." When Triple H came back, it was pretty much universal. Everybody was happy to see Triple H back, and everybody was cheering, and it was just a huge, huge ovation. And he came back, and Kurt Angle interrupted his opening promo. He beat the hell out of Kurt Angle. They both ended up being in the Royal Rumble as the last two people in the ring, and Triple H knocks him out of the ring. So Triple H ended up winning the Royal Rumble, and I cannot remember if he came back to win at WrestleMania, but I want to say that he did.
He did, and as a
think
matter
he
of
did.
fact, that's the reason
Yes.
why WWE suffered such a ratings slump, because at that time, no one loved Triple H, specifically at WrestleMania. Like, people loved Triple H when he came back, because Triple H was still great, but when he won
Yes.
the title, at that point, he was just, like, he was so under. Of course, because I don't know the term for not over.
Underworks.
Yeah, because he wasn't
Yeah.
buried. It's just the fact that Triple H wasn't as nearly as popular as he was before, and he held on to that thing, and he kept getting it, so people stopped watching. And it's funny because 2002 had a rating slump that they haven't recovered from since. It's still between 2.5 and 3.0 on the Nielsen ratings, and it has not recovered. The closest that it ever got to an Attitude Era resurgence was the CM Punk pipe bomb and the
Right.
eventual title win that he had. Like, that was all over the place. Like, people started watching again, and now we're on the verge of another one with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. But I mean, with Triple H's return, that was kind of the last time that people truly gave a shit about him.
Last time right before DX came around, like, wait, hang on, I'm trying to think. I might have my timeline messed up.
DX folded in late 99, 2000.
All right, yeah. But yeah, it was the last time for quite some time that people cared. But while he was injured, it at least gave some other people the chance to hold the title, and that probably helped out the WWE in a huge way during that time, because, you know, like I said, Triple H was holding on to it for so long, and people just did not care at all. But yeah, it got a chance for Stone Cold to hold on to the title, and I think Shawn Michaels might have held the title. Not 100% sure. Taker,
I'm not
I know
sure yet.
Taker held it.
No, Shawn Michaels returned in 2002 after Triple H won the title.
Right.
Right. I remember that because the whole unsanctioned match, Elimination Chamber, all that good stuff.
Yes.
For me, with Triple H's return, I unfortunately wasn't around to see that, which really sucks. So I'm at a kind of a loss here for what to say, but I know that the return meant a lot because it helped refresh Triple H's character. Because, like you guys said, he was really not liked. But then when he came back like this, he was put into a different sort of light that made, I think, people start to actually like him and start to give a crap about him.
Yeah, and this was back when he had the original pedigree. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like his current pedigree, like where he kind of lets go of the arms as the guy's going down.
You know why he does that?
Because it looks too real?
No, he does that so that way the other person can brace their fall with their arms. Beforehand, it was dangerous because Triple H could break the person's arms. That's why he lets go.
Yeah, I remember there was this one gif where he managed to do the pedigree and he just about spike pile drive the guy through the floor.
Wow. Okay, then.
All right, we have saved the best for last. Okay, I want to take you guys back to around Survivor Series 2003. Undertaker versus Vince McMahon in a Buried Alive match. This Undertaker was the American Badass, and it's one of his best runs, I think, as the American Badass. He had a lot of great opportunities and a lot of great matches as, the American Badass. And in this match, Kane came back and screwed Undertaker over and buried Undertaker alive. Come WrestleMania season, Kane starts to notice that there's some freaky shit happening. Like, Undertaker's kind of leaving him messages and stuff. And we find out that Undertaker is ready to come back and face Kane at WrestleMania 20. And Kane's like, not gonna happen. My brother is dead. He's not coming back. So, come WrestleMania 20, the very first pay-per-view that I ever saw, and the very first time that I ever saw The Undertaker was in his entrance. They brought out the Druids. They brought out Paul Bearer. They brought it all out. And to hear everybody's reaction to not just when the music hit, not just when that first gong hit, but when he actually came out to the ring. He was not the American Badass. He had fixed up his wardrobe and he had gone back to being the dead man. And what's funny is that on this return, it was just an epic entrance. I think that was the return in a sense, but the match itself against Kane was relatively short.
Ever since then, The Undertaker's kind of been the king of the return. Like, since he's been getting older and more injured, like he's been appearing less and less and less. So he always nowadays has to make some grand return with the Druids sometimes, and sometimes back with Paul Bearer. And like, he had to do that a lot of times, but the first time he came back as the dead man, like that was a pretty impressive moment. Like, if I remember this right, Kane just was in shock when he came back. He was like, wait, no, you are not back. You are not back. You are not back.
The thing is, with Undertaker's return in 2000 as the American Badass was really, really important because at that time, the Attitude Era was wrapping up. He had just finished the Ministry of Darkness, and it was getting really, really stale because there wasn't anywhere he could go with the dead man character. So he reinvented himself as a motorcycling, ass-kicking machine. And
which honestly played a little closer to his character in real life, if you think about it.
Yeah, and the thing is that it worked for a few years. It worked very well because it really refreshed his character. People were behind the American Badass because of how well he did it. But eventually, it was time. It was time to go back to the character that people grew up watching and loving. The one that the little kids saw at Survivor Series 1990, where they saw the guy in black with purple eyeshadow. I mean, you look at that and imagine that you're 8 years old. I mean, the guy looks like death. He looks dead. And that was the character that everybody remembered. So it was eventually time to bring back the dead man. And boy, oh boy, did they bring back the dead man. When Paul Bearer did his, oh yes, the crowd went nuts. Just watch it at some point, somehow. I don't know if they have it on the WWE YouTube channel, but if they do, watch it. It's so impressive.
And what was also hard is that, I don't know if we brought this up, but it was really hard to choose an Undertaker return because I think we mentioned before, it's like an art form for him returning. There's this WrestleMania 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, etc. But I think eventually we kind of just settled on 20 because it was really him coming back like as the dead man. I think that's what mattered like most because that was like his first, I think, big return in a sense.
Yeah, it was when he came back as the Undertaker that we currently know him as, the Dead Man, the Phenom, the one who had the WrestleMania streak go on forever.
Yeah,
and
just the trench coat and the hat, not the silly World of Warcraft outfit. Okay.
yeah,
I
he
liked
did.
the World of Warcraft outfit. Come on, it gave him +5 to stamina. Right, it gave him +5.
Wow.
It gave him +5 to stamina, and it gave him the spark ability.
Nerd.
All right, we this cast is going to have pony pictures on the video, and you're calling me nerd?
Yes.
God
You
damn
nerd.
it!
there's a big sort of ironic thing going on here. But anyway,
Yes, the irony is not lost on me, but you're still a nerd.
Aw.
okay, Mr. Spyro.
Hey, that's 100% true. Go on.
That was exactly. I think that's a nice way to wrap this up. What do you guys think?
I agree.
We're all nerds, and thank you all for watching.
So, as usual, go and subscribe to us. Go and check out our stuff. Leave your comments below with what you think we should do next. That is wrestling related, if I may add, because some of you wanted us to like review Gravity Falls. And
Have you watched Gravity Falls yet?
yeah, I've watched Gravity Falls. I like it.
Tacos?
I haven't yet. I got too busy watching Steven Universe.
It's another series on ABC. But anyway, just recommend some wrestling related stuff for us to look at, and we shall see you guys next time.
Spark ability.
Nerd.
Brony.
Yeah.
Got us there.
Yeah, he's got it right there.